All right, everybody, we continue to keep an eye on things. It is still snowing to beat the band outside here in downtown Cleveland, a very snowy scene on the CSU cam, but we can see the buildings. There's a little bit of improvements. But from time to time, it's been a little sketchy around here. We have a lot of snow that has fallen on the roadways. The road crews, no way they're able to keep up all across Northeast Ohio. So we are now into the 9 o'clock hour PM of snow coverage. We've been doing it all day. And we told you yesterday, beware the second wave. And that's what this is. This is the second wave. And we are starting to see some brightening on the horizon. Figuratively, not quite literally yet. We'll start to pick up that a little bit. By the way, 9 o'clock, hair's up. I'm tired. Here we go. Let's take a look at what's going on with this. Our storm system is stretched now from New England back to the Midwest. So we're finally getting an eyeball on the backside of this as it's continuing to move to the north. Meanwhile, very nasty storms in Alabama tonight. They had a death from a tornado in western Alabama. They continue to have severe thunderstorms rolling off to the south and the east. We've got a lot of rain that is moving up the spine of the Appalachians, and it's on the backside of the Appalachians, if you will, the west side, where we have that freezing rain to sleet to snow changeover, and that got hung up in Ohio this afternoon. We told you about the cold front coming in, came in beautifully. We had that snow change last night in many of the lakeshore areas and west, and then today we're finally, just within the last few hours, getting that changeover in the southern areas too. There is some drying that is moving into the west. This is great news, everybody. We will start to see this winding down. We told you about midnight or so for greater Cleveland, and I think that looks to be on track still. Meanwhile, we still have widespread, moderate to at times heavy snow throughout most of the area, and then you head farther south, and that is where those big wet snowflakes are as they are falling. Now, we have been watching back and forth the possibility of that sleet mix sneaking back in, and we have seen it on the radar. I don't know exactly what is hitting the ground. I've had a few people telling me that they are now seeing snow. I had a report on Twitter from Carrollton. I had another report down in Tuscarawas County that they were seeing looked like snow, but they weren't quite sure that it had changed all the way over. Quarter-mile visibility in downtown Cleveland, half-mile visibility at the Akron-Canton Airport, three-quarter-mile visibility out by the state line area. Improving visibilities just a little bit out to the west, though, but we are still in the thick of things. That 3-mile visibility in Dover is interesting. Let me back it up and show you. There it is, 3 miles. That's interesting because visibility is a really great indicator of intensity of snowfall. And when you get down to quarter-mile visibilities or less, that's when you're talking about half-inch per hour snow rates or more. So we really start to see it ramping up at that point. But how is it possible that they're in the dark blue and they have that 3-mile visibility? Well, this is where our correlation coefficient and showing you where the sleet is. That's where that comes into play. So if you can imagine when you look outside when it's snowing, those snowflakes definitely disrupt the light and you can't really see much. With rain, though, you have a little bit better visibility. So when we freeze those little drops into the little ice cubes, if you will, the sleet pellets, the visibility actually isn't too terrible unless you get like crazy amounts of sleet. So we do have that sleet that is coming down farther south. I think we're probably getting a mix of snow and sleet throughout most of southern Stark County. If by chance you're watching and you are in Stark or Carroll or Tuscarawas or even southeastern Holmes County, hit me on Twitter at Betsy Kling or on Instagram. I'll be posting another lowdown. I've been doing these little lowdown graphics to kind of give the latest scoop of what's happening. And please let me know because that ground truth is very helpful. I do pass that on to the National Weather Service too. Meanwhile, if you haven't been following today, this correlation coefficient is a radar product that actually shows us similarities between things. So when you see this dark red color, there's a lot of similarity. It's all snow. But when it starts to get disrupted and things look a little bit different to the radar, that's where we get these oranges. So it's a really sweet tool to be able to use to pick out where that heavier sleet is. So we pop down to Dover, New Philadelphia on the ODOT cam here. And you can see this sleet and snow buildup that is on the road. It is a icy mess. I have had people who've been sending me messages and tweets and all that good stuff telling me that in Canton and parts of Carroll County and Tuscarawas County, they have a couple inches of sleet. Sleet like they have never seen sleet before. And now we're going to start putting snow on top of that. So it is a very slick and icy situation setting up for our most southern counties. The roads are somewhat passable here. A few brave souls are out, but it's definitely not a good idea to get out and about. The roads are still very slow in Northeast Ohio. A lot of reported spin outs, a lot of reported slide offs, and we'll continue to watch these conditions stay exactly how they are for the next few hours. We're going to wait until the snow backs off a little bit later tonight, and then I think the road crews are going to get out and really try and hit it hard. One huge complicating factor to all of that is the wind. The wind is zipping. We've had wind gusts today, 35 miles per hour near the lakeshore, 40 miles per hour near the lakeshore, a little bit less farther south, but this snow is just going to blow all over the place. And I have people who are saying, I have one side of my house that has 3 feet of snow, and I have one side of my house that has 3 inches of snow. What's the measurement? Well, neither of those two, obviously, but the blowing and drifting is going to complicate a lot of things more than just measuring the snow. It's going to keep these roads pretty much snow covered until those wind speeds start to die down. This is the Valley View Bridge. You can see we have the snow that is still coming down. It's coming down a light to moderate clip here. The roads are very snowy, and we do have some road tracks, at least that some of the drivers who are out and about can follow, but certainly less than optimal conditions. Ashtabula out to the east. We really haven't talked a lot about Ashtabula, have we? And this is the situation where Ashtabula people are like, you know, you only talk about us when there's lake effect snow. Well, here we go. Now you can see you also get the system snow, not lake effect. And we do have those snow covered roads here. It looks like a plow just went down this. See that the berm, it kind of looks like they just went through. So the plows are out and about. ODOT is on full force. All the city crews are out and doing it, you know, the best that they can. But sometimes Mother Nature wins, and this is one of the situations that girlfriend got the leg up for sure. Here is a look at Lorain, I-90. You can see we have snow-covered I-90. It's probably a very icy, slushy underside of that snow, so we'll have some compaction that takes place, and when that happens, we'll get a layer of ice that builds up. I don't know if anybody remembers back in 2004, 2005, that was our snowiest year, our snowiest season on record, 117.9 inches of snow. We had like 3 or 4 of these systems in that year. And in 2004, well, let me change that. In 2005, it'd probably be January or February of 2005. Do you remember they had to bring in road graders to scrape the ice off of I-71? We had like 3 inches of ice build up on I-71 because the cars kept compacting the snow down, and it just built up this block of ice, and they had to bring in these giant road graders to scrape all the ice off, and then it was like all was happiness and well. And we had sunshine too, so it was like this weird, the sun didn't do anything because the road temperatures were too cold. So I don't think we're going to get quite to road grader status, but that's the weird stuff that rolls through my mind. All right, so the rain is going on to our south in West Virginia, portions of eastern Kentucky and Virginia State. And you can see here, then we get into this light pink, that's your freezing rain, and then this purple, that is the mix and the sleet that we have going on. And then this dark blue, this is the second surge. So this wave is now finally getting to us, and it's going to move east of us. Once it moves east of us, wind will start to crank around to a more northerly direction, and that will drive in the cold air that's been sitting out here to the west of us. Look at this lake effect band that's coming off of Lake Michigan. I just saw that. That's pretty sweet. All right, so other than that, getting a little scatterbrained, you can see that the drier air is finally punching in on the west side. We're starting to get a few breaks in this snow shield here, and this will continue to move to the east. We have to wait for this to go by, and then we will have improving conditions, and that is going to be in the early morning hours, and it's going to be windy all the while. So let's take a look at where that second surge is. We have been watching the 5,000-foot wind regime, and that is because this is an elevated warm layer that has been the culprit for changing over and giving us this sleet. And the sleet has been very stagnant across southern and central Ohio. As a matter of fact, southern Ohio, parts of it, in an ice storm warning. Columbus got drilled with freezing rain today, and if you go on the ODOT cams, a lot of the ODOT cams have icicles on the camera. It's pretty wicked. But you can see this circulation right here. That's the wave. We were watching this in Texas. Even we watched this come onshore on the West Coast on Sunday and Monday. So this is that second wave. As this is going to continue to move to the northeast, all this wind is going to start to switch and then come in from the north. And when that happens, that will that'll put an end to any chance of having that mix. But the problem is now we're going to put the snow down. And I'll zoom in a little bit. I think this is pretty slick how this works. Let me put it in motion here and we'll take you through time, and you can see how that wind begins to kind of turn around as these, as the low, the 500 millibar, or excuse me, the 5,000 foot low, the second wave starts to change. So there's your northeast wind. So now we are all in snow at 3 a.m. And then finally by about 6, 7, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., now we've got a very pronounced north wind all the way through northern Ohio. So all snow and blowing snow and really cold. We have a cold night on tap here. So the snow rates will remain where they are as we go through the rest of the evening. Once we get toward midnight, that's when we should see improving conditions from west to east. In the meantime, it is still snowing and it is still blowing, and that is a bad thing. So we'll have that dry air punching in from the west. This is great news. It's going to start to taper things off a little bit, but I think we'll continue to have snow showers farther to the south until that low goes by. Then by tomorrow morning, we may have some kind of residual snow that moves through. I don't think this is going to be anything that really puts the kibosh on morning plans, but it may add another couple inches. And because we already have snow blowing and drifting, that's going to be a complicating factor. But look at these temperatures in the teens, wind chills below zero tomorrow morning. So definitely a chill. We'll hold on to a few flurries as we even get into the afternoon, but then by evening, we're done. So then it becomes a news story, and Betsy will get some sleep. But we do have the possibility even to see sunset tomorrow, so that'll be some good news. The bad news is that's also going to present some much colder air into our forecast for Saturday. I do think we will have many areas Saturday morning that go below zero or down towards single digits, and that's not including the wind chill. We're still locked in on this 8 to 11, and I know so many people are saying we got way more than that. Well, this blowing and drifting is really messing things up. If you haven't left your house, you really don't have a good perspective as to how the blowing and drifting is going. I get it. Go for it. But it is definitely a storm that is still with us, and it will be with us. This is kind of the most important thing here. This area is to 13. I think we still have the chance to have some areas where they're going to clock in with 10, 11, 12-inch reports and possibly even 13-inch reports. Out toward Huron, we've gotten some reports of 10 inches of snow that have fallen. Fairview Park, west of Cleveland, there was reports in West Park neighborhood of 9 inches of snow a couple hours ago. So that means that we're still stacking it up. So we try to get you a range here, and I think most places will fall in this 8 to 11, but we will have areas that are up to that 13 and maybe even 14 inches, but I think 13 should be about capped. Farther south, where we had that mix today, and this line is rough. It's been a crazy day of moving this line within a 15-mile width. It's just, it's trying to split hairs. I get sticky about it, but we have had a couple inches of sleet that have fallen, and then on top of that sleet, we will have snow with total accumulations of the 5 to 8. So that's all the sleet, all the snow together. And then farther south, where we have yet to make that transition, I still think we're looking at about 2 to 5, probably more toward the 5 than the 2. It all depends on how quickly this fluffs up, and the fluff factor can't be understated with this. As we get colder, it's fluffier, and so that fluff is really what will pile up the most. Our storm impacts remain unchanged. High impacts on the roads still tonight, still tomorrow because of the blowing and drifting snow. Air travel, I think now we're going to start to move from Cleveland Hopkins and Akron Canton Airport having high impacts to other places having high impacts, and we have to try and navigate that whole air system. So our airports are going to be trying to get folks in and out, catching up. But the East Coast storm, remember this storm is going northeast toward Boston and New York and Philly and all that, and I think that it could complicate things for the air travel tomorrow. School closings, you're seeing them there at the bottom of the screen. They're pretty much the same amount of school closings for tomorrow as what we had today. I think the superintendents are making the call very early. We still have a chance for some power outages, but I don't necessarily know that it's going to be very widespread. I think at this point they would be more isolated power outages than anything, and hopefully these crews are going to get back online. I'm telling you, the power crews are just phenomenal at getting stuff back and getting you connected. But if you, by chance, have an opportunity to wave or say hello or thank you to the plow drivers, I would do that. They are really putting in a lot of time on this storm and really trying hard to keep up with it. And they're going to get back to where they get ahead of it. But for now, they're fighting a losing battle. It'll get better tomorrow, though. We have improving conditions tomorrow. Great weekend headed our way. We'll give you the latest on all of those details coming up on Channel 3 News at 11. But until then, thanks so much for staying with us here on our platforms today, friends. I'm actually going to go on Facebook Live, my page, and I'm going to go walk around outside. I haven't been outside except for a very short walk here, and I just want to go out and experience the storm because I've only seen it on radar so far, so I'll be excited to do that. So join me there. So thank you again. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you at 11.